Good morning. It's Saturday, April 6th. I want to talk for a minute about shame and accountability and PDA, which is a personality trait or neurological effect. I guess I'm not sure how it's technically described, but it is an aspect of autism. PDA stands for traditionally persistent pathological demand avoidance, is what it's traditionally called. A new, more user-friendly term that is coming into play these days, which I like a lot better, is persistent drive for autonomy. And what it describes is a wiring in the nervous system that perceives demands or requirements or requests or instructions basically as a threat to your autonomy, your ability to choose. And it's debilitating. I have what I consider to be a pretty high-level version. I have experienced in my life so many times my desire to go do something, and as soon as someone asks me about it, poof, it's gone. I can't even think about it for a day or two. Or I get resentful instantly. It turns into this feeling of expectation. And I know that's not logical. I know that I should be able to share plans with people and goals, especially goals, and just accept their joy or ignore their expectation or doubting or anything like that. But that's not how it works. The brain and body are one, and when I hear that something I am planning on doing and holding joy in get expressed through someone else's understanding of it, and they express as part of that the expectation that I will fulfill the thing, because if you set a goal, obviously the point of having a goal is to fulfill it. And so if I, like it used to happen all the time, I would tell my mom, especially, I tell her everything pretty much, but I would tell her, oh, I'm going to start going to yoga again. I'm so excited. I found this new yoga studio or routine or whatever, and I'm going to start doing it. And she'd be like, oh, great. And instantly my brain was already like, oh, I'm going to have to tell her tomorrow if I did it or not. If I didn't do it, she's going to be not even disappointed, but just like, oh yeah, well, that's Ruby. Or, like, oh, I wish she would have done that for herself. Not even in a judgmental way, but like, oh, I'm happy for her. Or, oh, I wish that she could do something that makes her happy. And there's a disappointment there, but it's not like in me. It's, my glasses are horrible for making videos. The disappointment is just that I didn't get to experience that, so it's disappointment for me. It still comes across the same to my nervous system. And understanding that it is not just psychosomatic or me being a booty butt, as we say here to our 4-year-old sometimes. It makes it easier and harder because I still have the shame, and that's where the shame comes in. Expectations are always there. You know, you expect to get up, eat breakfast, brush your teeth, get dressed. Sometimes even those things are hard. And that sounds like absurd. It feels like I'm making an excuse even saying it. But it's real. And when I take my mind out of things, and I think overthinking is, for me, a part of that, and I can just do things and make it part of a routine that is autopilot that I don't have to think about. It's just like, you get up, you pee in the morning, you brush your teeth. It's that automatic. Then I can do it. Once it's past that threshold of reminding myself, then it's easy. And I can maintain routines and then become dependent on them. And if something changes, my whole world crashes down. It feels like in some ways, and I have to restructure it all from the ground up again. And that is debilitating, and that is what makes change so hard for people who experience autism and ADHD and probably other of the neurological, neurodiverse differences that we all experience. This is part of my experience. And so shame plays a big part of my subconscious life. And I'm trying to actively, and have been for a long time, trying to actively rid myself of that. But I think when you are highly emotive and easily responsive to other people's emotional states and needs and subconscious languages, then you start to develop expectations for yourself that people may not even have verbally or consciously expressed. But micro expressions, the first response, I mean, gosh, knowing all of this, it is hard to be a mom because you're like, what do? I don't want to traumatize my child in some way down the road. It's going to happen. I just, that's part of being a parent, is understanding how can I best serve my child without doing too much. But who knows? Anyway, back to my shame and my childhood, and knowing that I was in some way feeling, not knowing, it felt like a knowing, but feeling in some way that I was not quite living up to everyone's expectations or goals. No one expressed that in my family, early on. Once you get, a little older and people start to expect more, then they start to feel like, okay, now I can say out loud, like, hey, you have responsibilities and you have an obligation in your life to create goals and fulfill them and meet them so that you learn how to do it better and it becomes easier. And that's part of being a grown-up, is being able to meet these goals that you set for yourself or that someone else sets for you. See? And it hasn't impacted everything, I am trying to unpack a lot of the shame that I just carried as part